So today we're going to talk about a very pertinent topic, a topic that is often asked, the various doubts in people's minds of whether DHT itself is responsible for hair loss as in balding, or is there a mechanism whereby testosterone also shares a bit of the responsibility for causing androgenetic alopecia? So this is what we are going to discuss today. Patients with hair loss get frustrated after a few years. They get frustrated because in spite of the fact that they're taking DHT blockers, and these DHT blockers might be as strong as dutasteride which blocks up to 95% of DHT, and still their baldness continues, their thinning continues unabated. So a question arises in the mind whether DHT is the only incriminating agent which causes hair loss in those with male pattern baldness, or is there something more? Does testosterone also have a role to play in male pattern baldness? We have hitherto been told that DHT is the metabolite of testosterone. Testosterone undergoes 5-alpha reduction to become DHT, and only DHT is the androgenic stimulus that affects the androgen receptors in the scalp, and it is only DHT which can cause genetic baldness. So come, let's talk about this. Let's see the evidence at hand. So is there a direct role for testosterone in causing baldness? Or is it merely the androgen receptors which become refractory to the effect of dutasteride or finasteride and upregulate or downregulate? Or are we missing out on something? Well, the jury is still out on this topic. There is nothing certain yet. And as we all know, medicine is not a perfect science. We are ever evolving in our knowledge and in our treatment methodologies. However, I will be offering my 2 cents on this topic, which is often discussed these days with my interaction with the patients. So just a quick recapitulation of what are the causative factors of baldness. So testosterone is the male sexual hormone, and most of it is found in the bloodstream bound to SHBG, or sex hormone binding globulin. And a much smaller amount of testosterone is available to the body for the bodily functions as free testosterone. Well, we also know that. This free testosterone exerts the functions of testosterone on various parts of the body, organs like the scalp, the prostate, the musculoskeletal system, that is the bones and joints, and the synaptic and dendritic pathways of the brain. We also know that 5-alpha reductase enzyme is crucial in converting free testosterone into the active metabolite DHT. And this happens only in the scalp and the prostate. But we also get confused when we are told that testosterone needs necessarily to be converted into DHT for it to exert an effect on the androgen receptors on the scalp and the prostate. Whereas for other tissues where testosterone has an effect, it need not be converted by 5-alpha reductase to DHT. So in these tissues, testosterone on its own causes its many benefits, its many effects. We don't know why DHT concentrations in these tissues, the scalp and the prostate, are high relative to the tissue levels of testosterone in these organs. As a corollary, the tissue levels of testosterone in other systems like the musculoskeletal system and the brain is higher than DHT. Well, the whole answer is that nature has various mechanisms, and there is no mechanism that happens without a reason. And so is the case of how the effect of testosterone takes place on various organs of the body, which we are going to discuss now. There are 2 occasions in the timeline of development of the human being and senescence of the human being when testosterone levels are very low. Number 1, intrauterine development and prepubertal differentiation. And then at the age of 40, levels of testosterone in the body begin to decrease. In fact, they nosedive, as much as that at the age of 60 years, your testosterone levels are merely 25% of what they were between the ages of 25 to 30. So this is a significant dip. It has been scientifically observed that males who have 5-alpha reductase enzyme deficiency develop ambiguous genitalia or female external genitalia at birth. They also have poor development of the prostate. However, as they go on, as they age, it has been seen that bone and joint development takes place normally. However, these 5-alpha reductase enzyme deficient children, as they go on to puberty, the pre-pubertal differentiation, it is found that normal bone and joint musculoskeletal development is unaffected. So from the phenotype of children who are 5-alpha reductase enzyme deficient, it was inferred that the enzyme 5-alpha reductase is crucial for the development of the prostate and the external genitalia. It can also be inferred that even minuscule amounts of testosterone through action of 5-alpha reductase enzyme allow the androgenetic signal to be available to the body in the form of DHT. So the organ-specific effect of DHT can be viewed as a local amplification of the androgenic signal without the need at this sensitive period of development to raise testosterone levels so as to cause systemic hyperandrogenemia. Because this phase of sexual differentiation cannot afford very high levels of testosterone. It is as simple as that. So this also illustrates Mother Nature's brilliance, Mother Nature's ingenuity in devising subterfuges that bypass these inimical pathways. Subterfuges that create well thought of mechanisms for tissue-specific amplification during the crucial phases of the body's development. To conclude, several models in various scientific studies have been evoked to explain the role of DHT in men. The view of the vast majority of doctors and scientific investigators is that the conversion of testosterone, the conversion of free testosterone into DHT is obligatory to mediate the effect of testosterone on the scalp and the prostate. And these are the tissues which have high 5-alpha reductase activity. It is also widely accepted that in other tissues where testosterone exerts its effect, it is not obligatory for testosterone to be converted into DHT to exert the effects of testosterone. So therefore, it is surmised that DHT merely amplifies the effect of testosterone in tissues which have a high level of 5-alpha reductase enzyme, such as the prostate and the skin, but not in other tissues like the bones and the joints, which have low 5-alpha reductase activity. But in those patients who had 5-alpha reductase enzyme deficiency, those males with 5-alpha reductase enzyme deficiency have been observed to go on to baldness if they have been carrying the baldness gene. Later on in life, when they become 25, when they become 35, they have shown that they also can have baldness. And in clinical practice too, testosterone levels also have a bearing on the progression of baldness. So the commonly held theory that testosterone needs to be converted into DHT to exert its effects on the scalp and the prostate has many loopholes. It can be logically inferred that both testosterone and DHT can exert androgenic effects on androgen sensitive tissues, that their relative effect on any tissue is contingent upon their relative concentration and potency in that particular tissue. So we can rationally conclude that DHT merely causes local tissue amplification of the androgenic signal from testosterone in environments with low testosterone levels, and especially like in intrauterine development where hyperandrogenemic levels will be harmful to the body, and also later in prepubertal differentiation when low testosterone levels exist, but in certain tissues which need more androgenic signal, those tissues are compartmentalized by local amplification of the androgenic effects. So this is the role of DHT. However, when the body has normal levels of testosterone, where spikes in testosterone do not matter, it can be surmised that the role of DHT and testosterone is interchangeable. So these two hormones interchangeably subserve each other's functions. And this age group could be between 18 years to say about 45 years. Later on in age, when low testosterone levels exist, when testosterone levels take a nosedive again, this local amplification signal, this local amplification of androgenic signal, which happens due to DHT, comes into play all over again to maintain the health of the prostatic tissue. By buffering the effects of low testosterone by local amplification of the androgenic signal. So I hope you think over it, of what we have discussed. The jury is still out, there is no final verdict yet. And if you have any other questions, any doubts come to your mind, I'll be too happy to answer them. You just have to drop a comment below. And if you want me to make a specific video for your need, just drop a question to me as a voice message, remaining anonymous, on my WhatsApp number. And I look forward to be with you in the next video. God bless you.